Good morning and welcome to everyone here today, either in person or on YouTube. Please gather in body or spirit and join with us to sing number 347, Gather the Spirit. Thank you, Jim. My name is Shelley. I'm your worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County. And I wanted to give you some welcoming words to start out. It's by Michelle LaGrave. We come to religious community from many paths and with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be smoothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you have come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. If you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. For whatever reason and however you came, you are welcome here. Please take a brief moment or two to greet those around you before we begin. Thank you. That's kind of new. I kind of like the idea of saying hi to everybody. Jackie gets all the kudos for standing at the door and saying hi to people when they come in, so I wanted to give everybody else that chance to. This service is being broadcast live on YouTube and will be available as a recording on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. If you are watching via YouTube, you may want to put a candle or a chalice in front of you to light for the service. I wish to express my gratitude to all those who make this service possible, Corey, Tom, and Doug, for their expertise in technology and sound, the buildings and grounds team that makes our space beautiful, our greeters, our wonderful musician, Jim Boyle, the choir that is sitting amongst everyone here, Trudy, Aheen, and all those who help in the kitchen, and our office staff, Anna and Sandy. I also wish to express my gratitude for those who support our fellowship with their financial support through their pledges. Are there any new people here today that we can greet? If so, please stand or just raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone around to you so you can introduce yourself. Tell us where you came from and what brought you here. I think they're all repeats, Tom. Or don't want to talk.
I give up.
If you're new or if you just want to socialize afterwards, which we'd love for everybody to do because that is what UUs are all about, socializing, social justice, and drinking wine. We'll be in the social hall after the service for refreshments and conversation, and thank you for joining us today. And FYI, today is birthday cake day, so I'll be talking about that later. If you're new at home and would like to learn more about our fellowship, you can email office@uufcc.org or visit our website at uufcc.org. Wherever you are, we're glad you have chosen to spend your time with us this morning. And now Jim will lead us in a prelude. AJ, would you mind coming up and lighting the chalice? Actually, I should say, please. Thank you. We light this chalice to guide us in the space between thought and action. Here we pause to sift through the noise, to listen for the quiet voice of our values, to see more clearly the path before us. In this light, may we find the courage to choose with integrity, the compassion to consider the needs of all, and the wisdom to walk forward with both hope and humility. Now please repeat the words in your order of service for lighting of the chalice. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Oops. Now, I keep this stapled so I don't lose my order, because I would otherwise. So I'd like to start with the opening words for reflection of the week. This week began with a rare dance of worlds, 6 planets tracing a single arc across the dawn sky. Some could be seen with the naked eye, others revealed only to those who searched with care. It was a quiet reminder that even across vast distances, there can be harmony. But here on Earth, harmony was harder to find. In Milwaukee, waters rose beyond memory, 1,000-year flood spilling into homes, streets, and lives, washing away the final day of the state fair and leaving behind both mud and resolve. In our nation's capital, lines were redrawn, the guard in the streets, police powers shifted, unprecedented and alarming. And far from here, 2 nations lifted their flags, Pakistan on August 14th and India on August 15th, marking the anniversaries of the hard-won freedoms, reminding us that liberation is both a milestone and a continuing work. So let us breathe in the scope of it all, the cosmic and the personal, the grief and the pride, the disruption and the beauty. I invite you to hold those stories of this week, to kindle courage for the choices before us, and to remind us that in our small flame burns the same light that threads through planets, rivers, streets, and hearts. Thank you. In our community, the Book of Life is where we share our joys and sorrows with life milestones. Spoiler alert, there's nothing written in the book this week, so we'll move on to the dropping of the stones. You'll be able to drop a stone in the water to commemorate directly the deep sorrows or joys you carry with you today. Please be aware that they are publicly broadcast on YouTube. We ask that you save any announcements for the Life Community part of this service. If you'd like to come up, the mic will be on. There's actually water and there's stones. Please come forward. Did you get a stone? Perfect.
I did.
And you are prepared.
I would say I'm stoned, but that wouldn't mean the same thing.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm here today because, I don't know, the universe propelled me to be here today. It's been a confusing summer for me. As you know, Jonathan died in June. And another friend of his, whom I knew, died in July. And he was 64, Jonathan was 80. And it's just been a confusing summer. But I have had lots of joy. And part of that joy has been Doug's family, whom you knew here, if you were here when he was here, they invited me to go to North Carolina for part of a retirement celebration for Doug's daughter-in-law. And it was magnificent and very uplifting. And then, after that, I was invited by Doug's son and his family to join them in Yosemite. And Yosemite, your heart cannot stay closed. Your eyes and spirit just soar when you visit Yosemite, and I highly recommend it. And then, to top it all off, my brother and his wife, who lived near San Francisco, they drove all the way to Yosemite to see me, and I hadn't seen them for several years. So that was another great joy. And so life continues to be a variety of emotions and wonders and blessings. So I appreciate you all, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you. Oops, watch your step.
I'm Dennis, and I have a real concern. I have a 8.5-pound little dog named Bosco that's my love, and he's sick, and like $375 later worth of chemistry and pills and we're waiting. So I'm real concerned.
I think any dog lover in here understands how important that is to us, like our best friends. For me, I just had a gut feeling, a heart feeling, a soul feeling that I wanted to talk about Gaza and that the people there are being systematically starved to death, and there are things we can do there are places we can donate that we can try at least from here to do something little, even if it's as little as just like $5 or something. But I feel like we owe something to this because the United States has gone along with this. So I feel like this is for all the children that are starving to death over there, and just the wasteland, and now they're saying they're going to take it over. So this is for them, and let's all try and do something for them too.
I was in Boulder, Colorado for the past week, and we had a service for Natasha Howard Roski, who was one of the spiritual leaders of my Boulder family. And it was such a beautiful service. He was such a great leader. Just being his life. And I'll show you a picture of him. He didn't do all the things that we think we need to do, and yet the community supported him and his family. His wife was also a spiritual leader in their lives. They weren't ordained ministers. There's another picture of him dancing. I don't know if you can see it, but it'll be on television maybe. Here's a picture of him standing out over the Boulder, Colorado wilderness with his arms out. He lived his life as an inspiration. And the service that occurred yesterday was just magnificent. All the sharing and the videos that were made were simply his family his family grouping over the years, just showing the joy of living a devoted life to joy and to sharing that. And so I wanted to just share that with you.
Good morning, I'm Patrick E. I wanted to share a joy. Last night, my partner Michael and I went to Suncoast MCC Church in Venice, which was a church from last week. Reverend Nancy Wilson gave the sermon. And there was a concert. It was Roger Jenkins played the organ, and it was beautiful music. So it was just a nice thrill to be there with new friends I have there also, and also just keep the connection between the fellowship and their church is always we have to work together. So it was just a nice, pleasant evening.
I have a stone of joy this morning. I'm going to get the keys for 3,200 square feet over by the north of the Ford Garage, north of the Pizza Hut in that little strip mall there. There was a vitamin store and a casino in there, I believe, before me. Marvin's Gardens. And we're going to kick it off with an open house. And there's an announced candidate in Charlotte and Sarasota for a house seat. He'll be there. Thank you.
Big one. May we hold these and the unspoken joys and sorrows in our hearts. May we also hold one another in love and tenderness, so that this fellowship may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead. Jim will play some meditative music. Now please remain seated and join us in singing number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. Oops. Yes. I hope everybody was able to sing that in the comfort of all those who need our kindness, our sympathy, and our love. Now, Dennis S. will share our beloved Sharon Whitehill's, one of our beloved Sharon Whitehill's messages, The Readiness of All. Dennis. I've got that there, too.
This sermon was written by Dr. Sharon Whitehill and then presented at UUFCC here on December 2nd, 2018. Laurie Douglas was the worship associate. Jim Boyle was the director of music. Sharon was a retired professor of English literature and a brilliant poet. She was an extremely valued member of this community and a close friend to so many of us. I miss her greatly. I chose this sermon to read from numerous sermons because it fits well under the theme Reflections, which is this month's theme. It also clearly illustrates Sharon's love of literature, especially Shakespeare, and what a fine teacher she was. The readiness is all. This morning, I'm wondering how we go about making decisions. Is that better? Okay. This morning, I'm wondering how we go about making decisions. How did you choose which college to attend, what job to take, where to live, whom to marry, when or whether to have children? I assume some of us chose such things too impulsively, or chose for all the wrong reasons. I did that over and over. I quit the University of Wisconsin after 2 years for no better reason than my father could threaten to withdraw me when he found fault with the way I was living my life. I married the first time partly because my husband-to-be reminded me of a boyfriend I lost and still missed. Well, I was 19 and stupid, and later managed to rectify both of these bad mistakes. But still, they shape me to this day. For example, the decision to live in Michigan. That choice was pivotal and gave me new directions for my life. I've learned that there is actually a science of decision making. One of its conclusions is an obvious one. People who make wise choices in critical areas like education and marriage are people who are good at long-term thinking. So, how do people become skillful at that kind of long-term thinking? Turns out they share two habits. One, they have practiced the art, if you will, of working backwards. How will I feel about this or that choice 20 years from now? And second, they read novels. Really, that makes sense. What better training in imagining the future? Because fiction invites mental time travel. You have to project yourself mentally back into the past in flashbacks and mentally forward as the characters take you into their future. Today I'll be discussing a character who is faced with a crucial decision but can't seem to act on what he decided to do. I'm talking about Shakespeare's Hamlet. His story has become for me the most reliable lesson of all on making important decisions. That lesson is in my title, and its truth is profound. The readiness is all. I will back up and give you a context to support that claim. If you know only one thing about the play, Hamlet, it would surely be those words, much more famous than those in my title. It starts with the line, "To be or not to be, that is the question." This refers to Hamlet's debate with himself about whether or not to commit suicide, whether to go on being or not. The play is chock full of questions. In the first scene alone, before Hamlet is even on stage, there are 17 questions asked in just 135 lines. I know, because I've counted them. But the question I'm focusing on today is why it takes Hamlet so long to act on his decision to kill the king, his wicked uncle. From the start, Hamlet is a tortured young man. The sudden death of his father, the hasty remarriage of his mother to an uncle he despises, now this uncle is the new king. All this torments him even more, yet he can't even speak his feelings aloud, because one cannot slander a king, even if it is your uncle, without severe danger. Hamlet is called home to Denmark for his father's funeral, but also for the remarriage of his mother to his uncle Claudius. He makes the wry joke that the marriage followed the funeral so fast that the food from the funeral was still fresh enough to serve cold at the wedding. But there's more. Something is really rotten in Denmark. Hamlet soon learns that his father's ghost has appeared to the palace guards 2 nights in a row. The second night to his good friend Horatio. My father's spirit in arms? All is not well. When Hamlet encountered the ghost himself, he has to absorb 2 more blows. 1, his father did not die of snake bite as reported. He was murdered. And 2, the murderer was none other than his uncle and new stepfather, King Claudius. The news is almost too much for him to bear. Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle, as to say, I just knew it. He is shocked, horrified, furious, and agonized, as who wouldn't be? Now, as revenge dramas go, this is an old tradition. So far, so good. Our hero has motives for revenge, he has intention, and he has passion. His decision is a no-brainer. He has to avenge the double deed, the patricide. He knows it, declares it, resolves to do it, makes the pledge again and again. Yet it's not until the end of the play that he finally does it. I'm here today to talk about why, and to ask, how do we make hard decisions? And do we assume once made, we'll be prepared to act on them? I wonder if you can relate to Hamlet's hesitation. Think about painful decisions or choices that you've had to make in your life. How long did it take you to act? How often did you believe the choice was made and then couldn't make yourself take that final step? Perhaps it was choosing one job or profession over another, or maybe you had to decide to leave an unhealthy relationship. I often felt impatient with friends and loved ones who really wanted to leave relationships that they knew were bad for them. All that talk and talk and talk and complain, and yet they stayed right where they were. But then I think of how long, 6 years, I did the same thing. Against all the advice to my best interest, I learned that it's not as easy as it appears from the outside. I was just like Hamlet. I knew what I should do. I resolved to do it, but kept putting it off, hoping something would change. What finally changed, of course, was me. Hamlet had to build strong motives to assassinate Claudius. He thought it through carefully, and I quote, "So think it through carefully. The ghost may be a demon in disguise. You need better proof than the word of a spirit. So get proof, an opportunity too. You come upon your uncle praying with his back turned. You draw your sword, but wait. If Claudius is praying and I kill him at the right moment, he might be sent to heaven instead of hell. So what now? I do not know why yet I live to say 'tis things to do. Hamlet despairs. Sith, I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Perhaps someone here is struggling with a major choice, like a friend of mine who badly wanted to retire from a job where she was underappreciated, overworked, but she feared she would not have enough money to live on. Or what about deciding if and where to move? Lots of us have faced or will soon face that decision. Yes, there are several good reasons not to act on impulse, especially if the decision is to kill a king. Hamlet tells himself to think it through carefully. Now, the ghost may be a demon in disguise. You better find proof. Don't believe the word of a spirit. Readers have pounced on this scene, calling Hamlet a coward. Literary critics have all kinds of theories about him. First, he's a dreamer instead of a doer. Secondly, he thinks too much. Third, he's all wind and no action, as Father used to say. The third issue facing Hamlet is dealing with two irreconcilable duties. The duty of upholding family honor versus thou shalt not kill. Finally, an ingenious suggestion from a psychoanalytic critic, Ernest Jones. Not just Hamlet, but Shakespeare himself suffered from unresolved Oedipal conflicts. Killing your father removes the last unconscious obstacle that prevents you from marrying your mother. That's too threatening to face, so you rationalize ways to avoid it. Lots of these ideas have merit, some more than others. What is wrong with Hamlet that he can't make himself act? What is wrong with him? No Hamlet critic I know has come up with my answer, and this applies to you and me too. There's nothing wrong with Hamlet. He doesn't have a fatal character flaw like so many other heroes of drama and myth. He's not psychologically damaged, weak, cowardly, nor does he suffer from an Oedipus complex. But his situation, I believe, that his delayed reaction is normal, healthy, and human. He, like any of us, facing a dreadful dilemma, struggling to make a difficult decision, or working our way through a serious challenge. In these situations, it's not as simple as making up your mind. In an emotionally charged or morally ambiguous state. The 4 words in my title provide the answer to why it takes so long for Hamlet to fulfill his vow of revenge. Readiness is all. The how-to of it is that you have to be ready before you can act. To leave a bad marriage, decide where to move or where to retire. So you wait. Wait for the clarity that will come if you give it time, if you have time. Wait for the moment of inner knowing. Do you know the feeling I'm talking about? You wait for the voice in your head, in your heart, that says, yes, this feels right. This is the answer. This is the time, and this is the right thing to do. You get to the place only by agonizing, as Hamlet did, only by repeatedly giving yourself pep talks, as he does, only by wearying yourself and your friends, only by lying awake and going over and over and over the same territory as Hamlet did. That is not a flaw in him, as some have argued. It's not a flaw in you or me either. It's not a problem of character at all. It's just the way things are. It can be miserable and seemingly endless, but it's how we humans get from one psychological place to another. By the end of the play, Hamlet gets to that place. Many people have noticed how different he seems in Act 5 than the previous 4. He has a kind of humility we haven't seen before. He refuses to be superstitious. He'll trust in whatever happens. In our moments of struggle, do we resist or try to impose our will on our inner wisdom? Or do we cooperate with it? It's only when Hamlet stops trying to direct the timing of his revenge, trying to find the exact right moment for it, that events unfold. So finally, he can do the deed. And in that context, that proves to the world it's justified. Then in a real sense, he becomes an instrument for healing the rottenness in the state of Denmark, cleansing the body politic of the poisonous Claudius. Hamlet heals his heart in the process. As for whether to be or not to be, he also accepts that death will come when it comes. The readiness is all. Those 4 words are the key that unlocks the whole play for me. They encapsulate all I have been saying so far. They are both the theme of the play and the answer to the big question of why Hamlet hesitates for so long. He had to wait for his readiness. I've found that phrases, cliches really help. For example, you can't push the river. Or another version, you can't tug on seedlings to make them grow faster. Joseph Campbell said, the adventure the hero gets is exactly the one he or she is ready for. Finally, there is this self-reminder. I'm not doing anything about this right now because I'm waiting for clarity that gives me permission to stop trying to force my crucial decisions, assuming I have the luxury of time to decide. It reminds me to remain open to signals that point in a direction. Jungian Robert Johnson speaks of, quote, a highly conscious waiting. So whatever you're facing, don't beat yourself up the way Hamlet did for not being so undecisive. So, what are you facing? Stay alert. Stay open-minded. Hang on to your trust in the process. Wait for the moment that suddenly is right, when you somehow have internally made ready. Stay alert. I will conclude with this thought. One thing I love about Shakespeare is he seemed to know everything there was to know about being human. Shakespeare somehow speaks the unspeakable. He turns grief, triumph, rapture, and rage into words, into something we can all understand. He renders the whole mystery of humanity comprehensible. And if that's not enough, he gives the best of all mantras. The readiness is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Just one note about Shakespeare. Absolutely love him. Took a whole semester to learn how to read him. It's very difficult to understand his writing, but so thoughtful. So if you wouldn't mind, stand in body and or spirit and join us for Fire of Commitment. Could I please have some choir members up here to kind of help lead the fellowship, since this is not intuitive where to start and where to end, correct? What number is that? Thank you so much. a great choice for a song to end that discussion. Not that I had anything to do with it, but just in case. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and wealth of the future of this fellowship. To this end, your offerings support the ministry of this fellowship, whether by pledge or donation, and may be offered online. There are several ways you can give. You can drop your donation in the baskets that are being passed around by the greeters. You can mail checks to the office, drop them in the mailbox, or call the office to make arrangements. Of course, there's always Venmo. If you know how to do that, that works as well. Your generosity is also appreciated. If you are new with us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. Your presence is our gift. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Reginald B. for his generous donation. As he states, in loving memory of Sharon Whitehill, my dear friend and fellow poet. Thank you, Reginald. Thank you, Jim. It's that time, life of the community. So if you look at the back of your order of service, you'll see that there are certain things that are going on here. One of the things I do want to bring up, Trudy's going to bring up, or I'm going to talk about Trudy in a minute. But please remember to check your weekly UUFCC updates, which includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom and in person. Descriptions of all kinds of things, fun things coming up. Also make sure you regularly visit our constantly updated website. Sorry about that. Today I have the following announcements. This is from Trudy. This is the last Sunday to enjoy and purchase art from our member exhibit. So check out the wall and cases. Thank you all to the members and friends who displayed their work. So take one last look after the service because it's going away. Also, there will be a brief art committee meeting after the service instead of the scheduled Zoom meeting on Monday. This is from Laura L. And this came out in email last week, and I think it's probably a very worthy cause. Excuse me if I slaughter the Native American tribe's name, because that's what it seems it is. Chautauqua, okay. Institute of UUs in New York. We're asking for volunteers all over the U.S. to help with a project regarding Virginia. Apparently, misinformation and absence of information have been used as ploys to discourage voting in rural Virginia. These are the underserved. These are not your normal everyday people. These are people who are kind of in the margins. The UUs have organized an information campaign that includes 70,000 postcards being printed. They've asked for volunteers to print the names and the addresses, attach labels with accurate information, write a couple of sentences verbatim, attach stamps, and mail them before September 19th, which is the first day of early voting. If I'm correct, I think they're voting for a governor this year. I'm not sure. They already had over 69,000 accounted for. Laura L. picked up 3 bags with 20 postcards and addresses each. It's imperative that the rules be followed, and she does have the guidelines listed here if anybody's interested. This could be an excellent short-term project for a fellowship in which to participate. If you agree, please come to the fellowship Tuesday, the 19th at 1 p.m. with a pen and some stamps. This is a chance to make a difference. So that is this Tuesday at 1 p.m. I also have a short announcement. We're having the carpets cleaned, I think on the 1st of September, which happens to be Labor Day. So we are looking for volunteers after the Sunday service, that would be the 31st, to stack the chairs, and then some volunteers on Tuesday to come back and unstack the chairs and put them back where they belong. So if that is you, please contact, who's a good person to contact? Anna would be a good one, so that she knows what's going on. Okay, any other announcements? Anybody wants to come up and...
What's the date again for the cleaning?
The cleaning is September 1st, so that's Labor Day. Dennis.
I meant to mention this during my presentation, or Sharon's presentation. She was a prolific writer, and I inherited quite a few of her poetry books, a biography, even a children's book. And I have sorted them, and if anyone's interested in having them, I would like you to take them. And I'll have them out back after the service.
As briefly as I knew Sharon Whitehill, she was such an inspiration to me, and I'm sure that for those of you who knew her for much longer, you can't deny that she gave you gifts beyond compare. Last one, happy birthday to all of our August birthdays. Join us for coffee and cake after the service, and I don't have a list of the people who are birthdays for, but let me see. Nope. You know who you are if you were born in August, right? Some of us don't want to do that. All right, closing words. As we leave this space, let us carry the week's stories in our hearts, reminding us of the harmony of planets, the devastation of floods, the courage to question authoritarianism, and the struggles and celebrations of independence in our world. Our world is delicate, threads of beauty, justice, and hope, woven together with strands of grief and uncertainty. May we go from here mindful of that truth, gentle in our touch and steadfast in our care, knowing that even the smallest light can steady the darkness. Go in peace, go in hope, go in love. May it be so. And as AJ comes up and extinguishes our chalice, let us go ahead and repeat the words in our order of service. We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts again till we are together again. Go now in peace. You know what I mean. You got it, right? Hey, our closing music is going to be, let me just tell you something about Come Sing a Song With Me before I start. This is a song that a lot of choir members go, ugh, when you ask to sing. But I remember singing it with my grandchildren when they were very small. because it was an easy song for them to learn to sing, and we could make up really questionable words. So please join me and come and sing a song with me, number 346. Please join us for coffee and conversation in the social hall. Also, lots of cake. And thank you so much for putting up with me today. Mike's still on, Tom. Okay, thank you.